Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Leslie Ann Johnson. Welcome to the second in a series of press conferences being hosted by the Housing Authority of Grenada. Today, we will be looking at phase 2 of the affordable housing units. So we want to say good afternoon to all of you joining us on Channel 22, our Facebook page, the YouTube channel, our colleagues joining us via Zoom, and of course, those of you who are joining us in the diaspora. So let me tell you how we'll start off today. We'll start with opening remarks by Mrs. Nichelle Beggs. She's the Marketing and Customer Service Manager of the Housing Authority of Grenada. That will be followed by remarks by Mr. Hugh Thomas, the Chairman of the Housing Authority, and then we will play for you 2 videos just so that you understand what this press conference is about. After that, we will have remarks by Mrs. Giselle Blackman-Charles. She is the accountant, followed by Mrs. Margaret Wilkinson, the lawyer, and finally Mr. Mark Paul, the acting General Manager. And then, of course, we will afford you the opportunity, my colleagues on Zoom, to ask any questions that you may have. So that's our panel for today. And as I mentioned, we'll start with opening remarks by Mrs. Nichelle Beggs. She's the Marketing and Customer Service Manager. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Good afternoon, Mr. Hugh Thomas, Chairman, Housing Authority of Grenada, Mr. Matt Paul, the Acting General Manager, Mrs. Giselle Blackman-Charles, Accountant, Mrs. Wilkerson, HAG's lawyer, other members of management team, Mrs. Esther Lewis, Human Resource Manager, Mr. Joseph Phillips, Production Manager, members of the media, listening audience, online viewers, good afternoon all. I will provide you with a brief overview and background on the Phase 2 low-income housing units. The China-aided low-income housing project, Phase 2, jointly implemented by the People's Republic of China and the Government of Grenada, commenced in January 2018 and was completed and handed over to the Government of Grenada in March. A total of 647 units were constructed throughout the state of Grenada, 144 one-bedroom units, and 503 two-bedroom units. This takes the total number of units donated by the People's Republic of China to 1,000. In this regard, we express profound gratitude to the People's Republic of China. In Dumfries, Carriacou, we have 100 units. Of those 100 units, 18 are one-bedrooms, 82 are two-bedrooms. The Villa in St. Patrick, we have 70 units. 12 are one-bedrooms, 58 are two-bedrooms. In Diamond in St. Mark, we have 130 units, which 37 are one-bedrooms and 93 are two-bedrooms. In Bouchejou in St. George, we have 121 units, 24 are one-bedrooms, 92 are two-bedrooms. In Corinth in St. David, we have 222 units, 54 are one-bedrooms, and 172 are two-bedrooms. We understand that you have been eagerly anticipating the distribution of these homes, and we sincerely apologize for the extended waiting period. However, we want to assure you that this delay was absolutely necessary to ensure your new home is equipped to meet your specific needs. Each unit is fitted with beautiful closets and cupboards. Our commitment to your comfort and satisfaction has driven us to make these improvements, and we believe that you will appreciate the added convenience and comfort these enhancements brings to your new home. The distribution of these units represents an immediate transfer of wealth from state to individuals valued at over $117 million. When you buy a home, you're not just investing in property, you're investing in your future and your family's future. It provides a sense of stability and security that renting simply cannot match. These units come with inheritance equity averaging 150% of the cost price. These units will continue to appreciate in value over time. As the property's value increases, so does your net worth. This, in turn, provides a means for intergenerational wealth transfer. You can leave a legacy for your children and future generations, giving them a financial head start in life. Home ownership has been a cornerstone of wealth building for countless families, and it is a powerful tool for economic transformation. Prospective homeowners will be given the opportunity to view the units in Corinth, the Villa, Diamond, and Boucherville. Please mark your calendar for the following viewing dates. On Friday, October 20th, we would have viewing in Corinth in St. David's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The Villa and Diamond on Tuesday, October 24th from 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. In Boucherville, St. George, Friday, October 27th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. During these viewings, our team will be on hand to guide you through the units and to answer any questions you may have. There will also be 2 meetings scheduled with selected applicants as follows. For Carriacou, Friday, October 10th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The location is at the housing scheme at Dumfries, Carriacou. For Grenada, it will be on Friday, October 13th, and the location is at the Trade Center Annex from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. The decision to purchase a home is not just about acquiring a place to live. It's about transforming your lives, creating opportunities for wealth transfer, and establishing a solid financial foundation. It's a long-term investment in yourself and your family's future, and it can play a pivotal role in achieving financial security and prosperity. The government, through Housing Authority of Grenada, remains committed to providing you with the best possible experience as you transition to home ownership. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is Nichelle Beggs, the Marketing and Customer Service Manager of the Housing Authority of Grenada. So before we go to Mr. Hugh Thomas, I just want to recognize supporting staff, Mr. Joseph Felix, the Production Manager of the Housing Authority of Grenada, and Mrs. Esther Lewis, the Human Resource Manager, and of course also to recognize my colleagues who are in the room with us besides those who have joined us via Zoom. So good afternoon to each of you. We go now to Mr. Hugh Thomas, the Chairman of the Housing Authority of Grenada. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to the panel, good afternoon to the media, good afternoon to the general audience. I would like to say with great pride and pleasure that a long-anticipated program is about to be launched. We came into this about a year ago and was tasked with getting cabinets and getting this to be able to be open. We went about a task of getting about 44, 45 local cabinet makers, cupboard makers to get on the task of doing that. And it was interesting to see how that process would play out and how fast that they could do that. And the local cabinet and sew makers definitely came through. But let me step back a little bit. We were handed in the last couple of weeks the names of that were selected for these homes. This was done by a separate body, a selection committee handled by the ministry, and the distribution of these homes are now about to take place. During this week, we have been contacting various persons who have been selected as candidates and to let them know that they have been selected and what the next steps are. What is the mindset and how we go about this set of housing as opposed that is different from the rest? In the last 2 weeks, we would have had a press conference where we itemized and we highlighted the problems in phase 1 of the low-income houses. And in dealing with going forward, every housing project, every time you do something, you should learn from it. What have we learned from it? And how we would address that in future housing was applied to this one. The process is different, and some people might be nervous about the process. But let me assure you that housing will hold your hands through it and do not let you get frustrated. But it is simple. A lot of people may have not taken a loan before, and they may wonder why they have to take a loan. I have my lawyer to my right, which is going to explain to you in her presentation what the benefits are in taking a loan. I have my accountant to my left, who's going to explain to you further aspects about this housing project. So as we go down the road, we would see that ownership of the units from the start is the way to go. We would transfer into your hands over 60 an equity or wealth directly into your hands immediately as you purchase these units. We are asking people to do one of two things. If you have the full amount, you could come to the Housing Authority and buy straight from the Housing Authority. If you don't, then you will need a loan from any of the financial institutions. The Housing Authority of Grenada contacted the financial institutions before, and they are on board, and they're eager and they're willing. They are going to be offering loans. We had suggested at 3%, and it will go from maybe between 3 and 5%. But we really got the assurance from some that they would stick to the 3%. The cost of a single one-bedroom unit is $55,000, and the cost of a single two-bedroom unit is $73,000. So in the previous interview, a previous press conference that we had, we told you that the people in the low-income housing units in phase 1 paid between $135 to $400 per unit, and it varied because of the style and the type. What we are saying to you here is that if you get a loan, for the person who owns the one-bedroom unit at $55,000, at 3%, a 20-year loan is only $305 in that vicinity. And a 30-year loan will be $232. And here's the beauty of it. Traditionally, we went to loans up to 20 years, maybe 25, but now we can go to loans up to 30 years. And that gives people an opportunity to have a lower monthly cost. Imagine at less than $10 a day, you could own your own unit. So in this, let me give you the other example. For the $73,000 home, at 3%, 20 years, you'll be paying around $405. I mean, the bank have a little charges that they add on to it, but not significantly. And at 30 years, that person will be paying $308. Again, even at owning a two-bedroom unit outright, this is a wonderful deal. So you see that the price that they are paying is very similar to the price that they would have paid in the low-income unit in that range for an apartment that is better in both size and quality of build. Although the apartment they are paying $55,000 and $73,000, it has been marked down by 55%. The government has marked it down by 55%. In the previous phase 1, the information getting to us is that it was marked down by 50%. So the government has marked it down even further, and from what we have seen inside the apartment, it is actually built better. For instance, there is a concrete roof on top of the buildings, and on top of the concrete roofs you have the alu zinc. And there are many other features, the quality of the tiles, And as you will see shortly, the fixtures. So there is a lot to be said about the gift that has been given to us this time around and how we would transfer that wealth directly to you through the government, recognizing that nobody else gives 3% interest. The loans process will be different because the banks understand the volume that is involved here. They would not be asking you to bring land papers and all of that other traditional stuff that would come with getting a loan so that you are frightened by it. It is a very simple, straightforward process. The housing units was fitted with cupboards that cost $4.7 million. So between the government of Grenada and housing itself, to a tune of $4.7 million has already been directly transferred to 45 local cabinet makers over the last 6 months. It was slowed a little bit because of materials availability. Again, once you're talking about 647 homes, it's quite a bit of material, and we had to wait for some times to get material in. The board has recognized that this is the best way to directly transfer wealth to people, in the quickest way, option. What will be available is that housing will manage the general common areas and the grounds for at least 3 years, the first 3 years. Also, if something goes wrong in the apartment, for the first 2 years, housing would fix that. But generally, with the agreement that is going to be signed, the person owns the unit. So whatever happens inside, it is that owner's responsibility to fix it. Whatever happens outside, common areas and the grounds, it will be housing's responsibility to fix it. As we move further, by January, we will be establishing Homeowners Association. The Homeowners Association is a management body that will look to run the condominiums the way it should be run. The lawyer, Mr. Wilkinson, will expound on that a little bit more, how it ought to be run in her presentation. Housing Authority will continue to adjust with a change in times. We will continue to find new ways. As we have learned from previous experiences, we would put new plans in place. But to continue doing the same old thing, we expect to get the same results. In this manner, we expect a very different result. After you see the videos, you would see the quality of homes that are being afforded to ordinary Grenadians at very reasonable rates. Finally, I would like to thank the banks for working with us. I would like to thank the staff of the Housing Authority who got the cabinets and so forth up and running. There's some more work to be done, but the technical officer will tell you, which is not housing, but infrastructure and other stuff have to do a few of the little things. That doesn't affect anybody moving in. At this point, I would like to thank the rest of the board who's not here and emphasize the fact that we would hold your hands through this process. We're not going to let you go. I would reiterate the fact that on the 10th of October for Carriacou in Dumfries and on the 13th of October, you would have all the recipients in Grenada meeting, and they would be told exactly what needs to be done. The banks would be present, and they will understand what will be needed to undertake to own a home. So we'll be there walking you through the process. At this point, I would like to thank you and pass it over to the video to be shown.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thomas. And as mentioned, we go now to the two videos which will help you to understand exactly what the panel is talking about at this time.
Welcome to Housing Authority of Grenada Sustainable Housing Development Affordable Two-Bedroom Housing Unit. Our units are thoughtfully designed, modern, and spacious, ensuring you have ample room to live and relax. Each unit is fitted with adequate storage facilities and other amenities. In the kitchen, you will find overhead cupboards and spacious enough to accommodate your stove, washing machine, and fridge, giving you all the convenience you need in one place. We take pride in providing you with modern and easy-to-use fixtures in the bathroom, ensuring your daily routines are hassle-free. As we move into the master bedroom, you'll discover a closet that provides ample storage space for your belongings, helping you stay organized and clutter-free. Additionally, the second bedroom also offers a closet, ensuring that you have plenty of storage space for efficient organization. HAG is excited to partner with you in making these units accessible to Grenadians. Thank you for choosing Housing Authority of Grenada, where sustainable living meets affordability. Welcome to Housing Authority of Grenada Sustainable Housing Development Affordable Two-Bedroom Housing Unit. Our units are thoughtfully designed, modern, and spacious, ensuring you have ample room to live and relax. Each unit is fitted with adequate storage facilities and other amenities. In the kitchen, you will find overhead cupboards and spacious enough to accommodate your stove, washing machine, and fridge, giving you all the convenience you need in one place. We take pride in providing you with modern and easy-to-use fixtures in the bathroom, ensuring your daily routines are hassle-free. As we move into the master bedroom, you'll discover a closet that provides ample storage space for your belongings, helping you stay organized and clutter-free. Additionally, the second bedroom also offers a closet, ensuring that you have plenty of storage space for efficient organization. �HAG is excited to partner with you in making these units accessible to Grenadians. Thank you for choosing Housing Authority of Grenada, where sustainable living meets affordability.
I just wanted to say, we staged the 2 apartments so that people can see what they could do with it. The apartment doesn't really come furnished. It comes with the cupboards and what we talked about, but it doesn't come with the fridge and the stove and stuff. So we just show you what you could do with it, but everything else that's how the apartment is. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hugh Thomas. All right, so we go now to Mrs. Giselle Blackman-Charles. She is the accountant at the Housing Authority of Grenada. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Ms. Johnson. So we have seen the units, and I will now explain to you a bit of information concerning the cost, the value, the price, and the financing process. The 647 units were constructed at a cost of $52.7 million. The 503 2-bedrooms costed $44.5 million, and the 144 1-bedrooms at a cost of $8.1 million. Now, after the units were constructed, there were some retrofitting improvements carried out on all units, which resulted in an increase in the construction cost. After the retrofit, a 2-bedroom unit cost $91,728. A 1-bedroom unit, $63,336. That's at a unit cost of $168 per square feet. The market value of the units. A 2-bedroom unit is valued at $204,734. A 1-bedroom unit at $141,251. They are valued at $375 per square feet. The chairman would have alluded to the fact that the units are now being distributed. The distribution of the units will be done through outright sale to the selected applicants at a cost which is marked down by 55%. What do I mean by an outright sale? It means that a lump sum payment. It cannot be paid in tranches, but a lump sum payment for the sale of the units at a cost marked down by 55%. Why are we selling it outright sale? The method of giving direct loans to individuals was used in phase 1 of the low-income housing. This has resulted, as you would have heard in our previous press conference, in only 20% of the applicants continuing to meet their obligations, and a non-compliance rate of 80%. Tenants, for one reason or the other, do not feel obligated to the Housing Authority. And for this very reason, we had no other choice but to go this route of an outright sale. The selling price, as you would have heard before, a 2-bedroom unit would be sold at $73,000, a 1-bedroom unit at $55,000. After the purchase of the unit, the prospective homeowner now will have an addition to their equity of just over 60% because of the value of the unit compared to the selling price. So you would have an excess equity of over 60%. The financing. Selected applicants will be contacted by the authority to visit our office first to collect the notice of offer to purchase. The applicant will then be required to seek financing to confirm the purchase of the unit, or if they have the finance, they can arrange for direct purchase from HAG. I repeat, you will be required to seek financing to confirm the purchase of the unit, or you can arrange for direct purchase from HAG if your financing is available. So it means that collecting the notice of offer to purchase does not guarantee purchase of the unit. A meeting was held between the authority, the banks, and other financial institutions on September 22nd, 2023. Insurance brokers were also present, who were all on board with us with the financing process. So there is nothing for the potential homeowners to worry about. The banks are already on board. The credit unions are on board. The lending institutions and insurance brokers are already on board. We have received notification from some of these institutions that they would be providing low-cost interest rates ranging from between 3 and 5%. The loans will also be backed by and guaranteed by the Housing Authority of Grenada. So any loan that is issued by the financial institution will be guaranteed by the Housing Authority of Grenada. The insurance brokers have also expressed their interest in working with the providers of insurance to seek the most competitive rates for our prospective homeowners, because we will all agree that purchasing a home will also require you to get insurance. So what will be the Housing Authority's obligation in this entire process? The authority will be required to install Homeowners Association by January of 2024. We will manage the security, repairs, and maintenance of the sites for the first 3 years. For a period not exceeding 2 years, any naturally occurring plumbing, electrical faults, mold, fungus, pop tiles occurring inside any unit shall be the expense of the Housing Authority. I repeat that. For a period not exceeding 2 years, any naturally occurring plumbing and electrical faults, mold or fungus, popped tiles occurring inside any unit shall be the expense of the Housing Authority of Grenada. Finally, the authority will be setting up a secretariat at each site to handle all questions and accommodate site visits during this transition process. So there will be a secretariat set up at Dumfries in Carriacou. We already have personnel set up in Dumfries at Carriacou. Secretariat will be set up at Corinth in St. David, Boucherjou in St. George, the Villa in St. Patrick, and Diamond in St. Mark within the coming weeks, who will be responsible for handling all questions and accommodating site visits from the prospective homeowners. Once again, before I close, I just want to remind you of the selling price of the unit. A 2-bedroom unit will be sold for $73,000. A 1-bedroom unit will be sold for $55,000. However, the value of a 2-bedroom unit, $204,734, and a 1-bedroom unit is valued at $141,251. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Giselle Blackman Charles. Without any further ado, I hand you over now to Mrs. Margaret Wilkinson, lawyer. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, all. And we have been speaking about the whole question of giving you a unit. And when we speak of a unit, we mean a condominium unit pursuant to the Condominium Act of Grenada, which came into effect since 1978, but has not really been used. But the Housing Authority has decided, based on the construction and how they wish to dispose of these units, to use the Condominium Act. And what does that mean? The Condominium Act means that we are giving persons a freehold interest in a complex. So you own, so when you walk in and you turn your key, it is your unit. You don't have a landlord, you are now the owner. What is the benefit of having the condominium unit, having the condo unit, which is a freehold, as opposed to leasehold? You don't have a landlord. When you have leasehold property, you have a landlord and you operate on specific terms of the landlord. You breach those terms, you are out of that property. The condo unit is a little bit different. So if I may just go into a little detail, it is an individually owned residential unit in a complex of buildings. The condo owners own their units but share common spaces and amenities. So in that regard, you will share your common spaces, and that will be governed by the homeowners association. One of the things I said to myself that I see as beneficial in terms of owning one of the units is that based on the fact that these units are marked down by 55%, it means immediately you have equity in what you are purchasing. And that equity is 55% above what you will be paying for the property. So that having been said, that is where I stop at this point. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Wilkinson. And the final person on the panel, Mr. Mark Paul, the General Manager, Acting General Manager of the Housing Authority of Grenada. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, Ms. Johnson. Good afternoon, Mr. Hugh Thomas, Chairman of Housing Authority. Ms. Margaret Wilkinson, Attorney at Law, representing the Housing Authority. Other members of the management team, media personnel, the listening public, online viewers. Today, I enlighten you on the responsibility of Housing Authority of Grenada in regards to the affordable housing unit. After the units are occupied, the internal structure will be maintained by occupants. However, the external, example, the drains, the step, the corridors, walkway, grounds, will be maintained by Housing Authority of Grenada. I would like to also enlighten you in terms of the comparison from phase 1 in terms of construction, the improvements. Reinforced concrete rails were used instead of metal rails. As you are aware, in phase 1, the metal rail all gone rotten. The installation of cupboards and closets. Also, we have reinforced concrete roof. Additionally, alloy zinc sheets were installed on top of the concrete. Also, a traditional sewer system, meaning septic tank and soakaway, was used. Before, in phase 1, we used an upflow filter system. Currently, the process of installing 100,000 gallon water tank at all schemes as a backup system for occupants having a constant supply of water. Just to emphasize, the units are outright sale. A homeowners association will be formed to ensure effective and cordial management within each scheme. Also, each site is assigned a maintenance team with work schedule and so forth. Okay? So that's basically it. Thank you.
Colleagues, so you've heard from the panel. Any questions from anyone? Rena Pierre, good afternoon. Go ahead.
Good afternoon to everybody on the table. I have a couple questions. I don't know if my other colleagues have those who are online. First off, I'd like to ask persons who, well, most of the persons who normally apply for the low-income housing may not have a financial stand as it relates to a loan. What happens in this case?
When you say they don't have a financial stand,
So most of the persons who would have applied, some of them might not have a stable job. I mean, some of these people really cannot afford a house.
So we are taking it up from the selection committee handing us the names. The selection committee would have had the criteria, and they would have vetted and the homeowners. So whoever got selected, they would have looked at whether or not, what are the particulars, right? Now, once they're selected and they're part of this, it doesn't matter of your past history or whether or not you have a financial stand. All you have to be able to show is the ability to pay for the size of the unit that you went in for. So all of you have to show, like I gave you an example earlier on with the prices, that you could show, you could pay $250 or you could pay $300. That's all that you need to show, because what you have, that unit, what you paid for it is less than half what it's worth. So the bank has the security in the unit. They could take it and sell it to somebody else and not lose any money. So it's not a problem in that regard. It doesn't matter. It brings everybody down to equal.
Another question I wanted to put forward is, with the bank, when persons do get the loan, if they cannot maintain that loan, does it mean that the bank would now own the unit?
Yes.
And what sort of documents would persons expect to get after purchasing the loan?
You get a title deed because it's freehold property.
Can persons sell the unit?
Yes, they can.
We all know that the unit can be sold.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pierre. Colleagues, anybody else with questions? Anybody else? No? Do you have any other questions, Ms. Pierre? It seems as though nobody else has. Those on Zoom have no questions.
Would all the units be sold, or would there be any reserves, like other houses for persons?
Yes. The percentage that I was given was 4% of the homes would be reserved for, that's what you said, if you have the battered domestic abuse and social issues. So I think it would work out to be somewhere like 626 units is probably what is going to be in active circulation. Just looking at 4% of 647, about 26 homes that will be, and that amounts to about 4 to 6 at every location would be allotted to that. I'm just giving you a breakdown per location now.
You did state that, so what I would like to know is, the accountant would have said previously that doesn't mean that the person who would have been selected would have gotten or would have reached the point of purchasing. What would lead to the point where somebody would say, you got that call, you said, yes, you are selected, but somewhere along the line, you lost that opportunity?
I don't understand.
What would lead to that? What would lead to that?
If the person gets, they have 10 days in which they would respond whether or not, if they're willing to take it or not. After that, they have 90 days after that to come up with financing, right? So in those 90 days, I mean, that's a long time. If they can't come up with financing, it goes, they would lose that opportunity, and it would give somebody else in the pool an opportunity to own that unit. I hope I answer your question if you ask it. Yeah.
I have another question, but I don't know if you can answer that.
Let me hear.
Does this really mean that we are addressing the issue that we have in Grenada as it relates to persons not being able to own a home? Because yes, you would have a selected group of people who actually have a job, but let's be honest here, most of the people who need a home right now, they really don't have that stable job. Well, that's what I said, you may not be able to touch it. How are we really going
No. So you're looking at a social need issue. Even the people in phase 1, it seems as if some people, they were given a range of prices. They all were given an opportunity to pay for their unit, right? Slowly over time. I don't know where Grenada has a program other than social service where they help a couple people out from time to time that is totally free. All right, there's no housing development that I know of in Grenada or other places that is just totally free. So persons are required to do something, to pay something. From the housing standpoint, if you give somebody something completely free, and who maintains it? Is a continuous cost, so somebody has to pay the cost. And at a political level, they will make that decision. From a housing perspective, what we're looking at doing is making it as easy as possible for the ordinary man to pay $200 or to pay $300 for a home and that they own. Nowhere in the world, nowhere in the Caribbean, you could own a home for that kind of money per month. So it is a gift, but with that, we ensure that, let me give you an example. Phase 1, if a hurricane passes, housing authorities paying insurance for every unit in phase 1. Because if a hurricane passes, the same people who can't pay will not be able to repair their stuff. So housing has taken out an insurance to the tune of over almost $200,000 a year. These are the real things. There's nothing really free. There are costs to everything, and somebody bears it, whether it is the taxpayer or whether it is the people who actually benefit from it most. What this government is saying, hey, let's balance the scale. Let's give them an opportunity to have equity, to lift them out of poverty, to have something that they could pass to their children if they want to, at a minimal cost. So, the only other way I could answer you that is if the government build homes for people free. But even when you do so, it can't work in a condominium setting because condominium setting has maintenance and issue, a cost and issue, and we're seeing that. So the taxpayers really paying for it again and again and again and again. So I would say that going forward, if you ask me that, housing next phase of homes will see a variety of sizes of homes, like how you see in a village. Big, small, medium, so that everybody could fit in. I don't know that is the government, and then they will look at who really can't afford, or somebody's retired and sick and all of that, and they have provisions with these homes for that, to give the 1 or 2 persons that are exceptional consideration. But you have healthy persons working and so forth. They have to contribute to society just as anybody else.
Thank you very much. Linda Straker, good afternoon.
Hello, and good afternoon to you and the panel. I have quite a bit of questions, which is mainly clarity. My first clarity is, the legal counsel said that these phases distributed in accordance to the Condominium Act. Can the director or one of the staff reconfirm what law was used in distributing the home in the first phase?
So sorry, you faded out for a bit there in asking the question. So could you ask it again, please?
Okay, well, I hope I don't get faded out. My question is, the legal counsel said that the Condominium Act is being used to distribute the homes for the ownership in this rounds. Can you tell us what law was used to distribute the homes in the first phase?
Just leases.
The first phase was just leases, from what I understand.
In accordance with what law?
I don't know.
Well, I don't know, but it was just a lease between the housing authority and the individuals.
Okay, my second clarity. Now, these homes, Grenada was promised a number of homes, as well as the other Caribbean islands, and particularly Dominica. In Dominica, the homes are given for free, and they're given the title deed and so forth. What in Grenada are the homeowners actually paying for? What is it that they're paying for?
The homeowners are paying for the units that they live in. They own it at the end.
So the gift that we get, we are regifting by selling.
The gift that we get, the government decide, and this is not a housing issue. The government has given its mandate. The government decided the way they want to distribute the homes. The gift that we got in phase 1, the government decided to do the same thing, but they're doing it through a lease. So on both occasions, the government sell the homes. One is through a lease and one is through a loan. Similar thing. Difference is that the only difference, as far as I know, is that one was at 50% marked down and this one is at 55% marked down. More or less the same thing.
And the Cabinet of Grenada has approved that new format.
When the minister handed down that to me, I would assume that the cabinet, there is a cabinet conclusion for it. So I would say yes. That was sent to the board.
My other clarity is in the previous news conference, where mention was made of persons owing, and I think it's almost $5 million. What has happened since then and now? Has people come in and settle up their business, make rearrangement? What has happened since then?
Since the last conference, there has been persons coming in to settle up, to refinance and make requests for refinancing. So the impact has been felt from the last news conference, and we do have persons coming in, yes, to service their loan and to make arrangements where the required amount cannot be paid.
If we were to give a percentage of the number of persons who came in, is it like 5%, 10%?
I would not want to guess because I did not work with that information today.
Okay, my other clarity is, with regard to the financing institutions, I have had to get a loan in my life on more than one occasion, and there is a process. Are you telling us today that the persons who are going to be awarded these homes will not be going through the standard procedure to take a loan? And what caused the banks to come to that conclusion, say we are going to not charge the 5-6% or more, but stick to the 3%? What was responsible for that?
The banks
all right. So let me get the second part of it because that's easy. Selling of the units at that discounted rate allows the bank to immediately has value, equity. So in other words, the bank is buying something for $5 or selling something that really worth $10. So even if you don't pay, the bank is selling to somebody else for $10 and they're not losing anything. Secondly, the 5, whereas one goes 5 or 6 or 3 or 6, it's a free market. Some have already indicated that they will go with 3 because there's no risk. We made it that there's no risk. When a bank has a risk, then they put up the percentage higher. Now, if a person wants to go with one institution that's giving you 6 when they could have gone with one that's giving you 3, it's up to the individual. But 3 is available. What we have done is that there's no time in the history of Grenada has over 600 units been available to the bank to make money on at one time. And with volume, you could lower the interest rate. You know, there's 2 ways of making money. You have a big markup on a few items or have a small markup on a lot of items. So the bank has chosen that route. We have given them the guarantee. I mean, actually, if the bank wants to sell in the first 10 years, they can sell back to housing. We would buy it at cost.
and will be done.
It will be done, yes.
Thank you, Noel.
Thank you.
That's it from you, Linda. Colleagues, anybody else with questions?
There was an issue with the other units. Persons are claiming that they would have paid off, or persons would have claimed that they would have paid off for the units, and they are yet to receive any documents.
Right. At the last press conference that was raised, and the board was not aware of it. Since then, we would have had 13? 13. We have pulled out 13, and we are acting on it. We are expediting that. So since in 2 weeks ago, we found about that. So I would think by the end of October, sometime in November, they would get that.
Would that include persons in Lackalome?
Lackalome was never really under housing. Lackalome was more or less under the government of Grenada. As this administration came in, they asked housing to fix Lackalome's sewer system. But Lackalome was not vested in the housing authority of Grenada. Am I correct? Yes. Yeah, right?
The minister spoke to them.
So the government is responsible
for Lackalome, yes.
That's it, Ms. Pierre? Linda, any other questions? Anybody else? Before we wrap this up?
I do have other questions, but one of it, Ms. Pierre would have asked it. But I go back again to seek some clarity. Can Mr. Hugh tell us who are the members of the selection committee for the homes?
I don't really know them, I think at the time, the select committee started with the previous administration, right? And they had the criteria and all of that. When this administration came in, they took the same criteria and probably made a different set of members. I know the one of them was the previous manager of housing, was one of the people on the committee, but it was not part of the board or anything like that. So I'm not quite sure. I'd have to check the minister on something like that, because I think that was on the portfolio of the minister.
To the best of your knowledge since taking over, has there been evidence, or do you have evidence of persons who would have paid out for the ownership and are now renting the properties to other persons?
I don't have that.
That's actually more a management and accounting issue than me. That we are vetting. When we went through the report that was done before, nobody has claimed that they're renting. There are people living in a summer apartment that is not the name of the people who are on the lease, but I don't know if they're renting, or it could be a relative, it could be something else. So it will require first of all, I mean, we just want you to pay, and then we will get through whether or not the person's name that was on it is inside it, and all of that kind of little nitty-gritty. I mean, it doesn't matter to us to some extent as long as the person pay, to be honest with you. But it's secondary. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, people get on hard times, they let somebody stay with them. What we know is that some of the original persons died. And that is something that the lease agreement, as I said before, has a deficiency in that once the person who took the lease dies, then they have no agreement. Whoever is in the house has no agreement with housing, because the lease is particular to that person. All right, so it's a long-winded answer. We're not sure. It may have happened, and I'm not going to say I definitely know, but I'm just saying that we haven't seen it as outright evidence yet. And when we get to that, we'll deal with that and see what it is. I mean, if somebody's renting from somebody and is not paying housing money, then I think that's fraud. In any other language, I'm not going to hide to say that. So that's it.
So let me just confirm what you said. According to the best of your knowledge, there is no evidence as of when we are speaking that there are persons who have completed the payment and have turned around and rented it to other people.
Wait. That's a different issue here, though.
Listening to radio station.
Wait, if somebody completed the payments, then they now own the unit. Because once they completed the payments, that's what the lease to own means, that once you finish the lease, you own the unit. And then if you own the unit, then we can't tell you what to do with your unit. That's a different story. But if you're not finished paying off for it, and so that's in another category. But once you own the unit, unless the lawyer is correcting me, but once you own the unit, you own the unit, and you could do what you want with the unit. That's after you finish pay off the lease.
Very much like the lines.
Well, thank you for the clarity, because the reason why I asked that, I've heard a couple of people on radio saying that we have doctors and others who own finished pay and they turn around and rent it to other persons. But thank you for the clarity on what you would have said.
Okay.
The idea that was being given there is these professionals, their name is attached to the list, and instead of residing there, they have completed the payment and have turned around and renting it to others. So I just wanted clarity on that.
Well,
thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
That's it, Linda? You have another question? All right.
My final question, can you confirm if Mr. Sylvester resigned?
Yes, he did. Okay.
Any as to what grounds he did so?
No, he said that he sent the board a letter thanking us for his service, and he resigned. He didn't give a reason in it.
When did that take effect?
The letter was saying September 18th, I think it's Monday, September 18th or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, thank you very much, colleagues. If there are no more questions, I'll give the members at the head table an opportunity to make any final remarks. So as we did in the first press conference, we will go now in the reverse order. So we start with Mr. Mark Paul.
Okay, I just want to say the desire to own a home is emotional and resulting in long-lasting happiness and a sense of fulfillment. Being able to call a home our own and live there is an experience beyond words. Housing Authority of Grenada remains committed to provide an improved standard of living, happiness, and experience for all Grenadians. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Paul. Mrs. Margaret Wilkinson.
Well, outright ownership of a property is always something I think most of us strive for. And it means every nail you drive, every curtain rod you put up, it's yours. And so I would say to members of the public, do what you can to own your own home.
Thank you very much. So we go now to Mrs. Giselle Blackman-Charles, accountant.
I just want to reiterate to the prospective homeowners that they should not worry. There is nothing to worry about. For some, the idea of approaching a financial institution may be scary, but the financial institutions, we have met with them. They are excited to collaborate with us. They have given the assurance that low-cost financing will be provided for these prospective homeowners based on the equity on the property. So I just want to encourage you. You may have your preferred financial institution, that is up to you. But be not afraid. The Housing Authority is guaranteeing every loan that is issued by the financial institution, whereby in the event that a person defaults, the housing will pay back the bank at cost for that unit. So you have no need to worry. They are excited to collaborate, and they are all eagerly awaiting the arrival of these potential homeowners.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hugh Thomas. The floor is yours.
I would like to reiterate all said before, and to make the point that we would hold your hands through the process. It is something that is, when people hear loan, they get frightened and scary, but as we have explained, it will not be like that. on the 10th in Carriacou, 10th of October, and on the 13th of October for Grenada. All the persons who are recipients will be gathered. We will walk you through the process. The banks or the financial institutions would be there present, and we would make it easy on you. We have a secretariat at every location, so when you make that visit, you could see what the apartment is like. We showed a little video of what you can do with it. We know that the cupboards and cabinets are fixed. And again, we said that it doesn't come with a stove and fridge and a bed, but we just showed you what you can do with it in that space. Housing Authority, the board, the government, we are very proud to lift the bar. And I think what we are doing is lifting the bar. And sometimes when a process is new, people are frightened. But in the end, the selected persons will be paying in similar range to what the people in phase 1 would be paying, or what was supposed to pay, if I am correct. But they would own it from the day 1. It's theirs, right? Keep paying and it's yours. You could pass it to your children. You have equity in it that you could use to do something. Give a student loan, get a student loan, or get something else. Get a car, or do something else. There are a lot of, when the word equity is used, a lot of people don't understand what you can do with that. It's value. So the bank is holding that value for you, right? But this is an improvement on what was done before, and as we go forward, we will choose a style and a type and a payment that we would have learned from this and move on again. All right? Housing does not want to fall into the trap where we are paying for homes that we're not getting money for. We have a 2.2 estimated repair costs on our hands with probably a 150,000 insurance bill every year, right? And we barely getting enough money for that. How are we going to fix? So after hearing all of that and going through the analysis of all of that, we have moved forward with a new format. It may not be perfect for everybody. No format is perfect for everybody. But I think it will serve most of the public, or all of the people, best. If going forward we learn that something is not right, we will change it again. There's nothing fixed and sold by this administration and definitely by this board. But we are learning from the past and applying it to the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Final remarks from Mrs. Nichelle Beggs.
Okay, I would just like to say and reiterate to you that the government of Grenada, through Housing Authority of Grenada, we are dedicated to supporting you in your journey of home ownership. We believe that this investment is your future, and it is a vital step towards achieving financial security and prosperity for you and your family. Thank you for your patience and trust in our efforts to provide affordable and quality housing to you, the people of Grenada.
Thank you very much. So we've come to the end of our press conference, but I just want to go for some important dates. So Mrs. Beggs, please stick with me on this one. So for the viewing of the houses, October 20th in Corinth from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. October 24th, the Villa and Diamond from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. October 27th, the Beauséjour, again from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then there'll be two very important meetings. Those are actually happening before the viewings. So the first one is for Carriacou, October 10th, and that will take place at the Housing Scheme in Dumfries from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Grenada at the Grenada Trade Center Annex, October 13 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Is that correct? 1 p.m.?
Correct.
All right, thank you so much. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, all of you at the panel. And of course, as we mentioned at the start of the press conference, this is just the second in a series, so we will be here to update you as often as possible. So we say thank you to all of you. And of course, for those of you joining us on the Channel 22 or Facebook page, YouTube channel, our colleagues in the room here with us, those of you on Zoom, and of course, those of you in the diaspora, we cannot forget you, and as well as the supporting members of the Housing Authority of Grenada, and of course, the MIT as well. Thank you so much for viewing. I'm Leslie Ann Johnson. Have a great afternoon.